Hi y'all, and welcome back. Tonight I'm going to be making a shepherd's pie. You should have seen my earlier video I posted a little bit before this, where I made the mashed potatoes. That will go on this. You can use leftover mashed potatoes. They're the components to a shepherd's pie are some kind of meat, a vegetable, a cream of something, soup, some potatoes, and some cheese, and some gravy, usually brown gravy. And you don't even have to do the gravy. It just makes it better. So those are the components, but this is the way that we always eat it. The first time I ever had it, this sweet lady named Jeanette made it. I had never had it before, so I asked her how she did it. She told me, and that was probably around 1988, 89, 90, somewhere around then. And so I started making it. Now, before we get going, please make sure to give me a thumbs up if you like this video. And I ask that you would please share it on your different social media outlets. All right, so let's get going. Let me turn you down and we will get started. Okay, I have in here, excuse me, a pound of ground beef. This is 85.15, just some I got from Aldi. Let me go ahead and turn this skillet on. Yeah, about medium high heat. And then to this, I added, and that piece isn't cut up good enough. Let me get that chopped up. I used a chopper, and some of these pieces don't look like they're good enough. Well, that one's not going to work, so we'll use this one. Okay. And I used about a quarter of a cup, it was about a half, well, it was a half of a, somewhere between a small and medium onion. And so I just chopped that up. If it wasn't for my little grandkids, I would probably use the whole onion because I like onion. So we're just going to cook this until it's browned. Don't do it on high heat because then it will burn before it's cooked. It's better to cook it actually about medium heat. And you just want to get it browned. Get the onion kind of about at least halfway tendered, all the way tender. So I will bring, well, no, while that's cooking, I tell you what, we'll go ahead and we will do the gravy part. So let me see if I can get you there. Yeah, you can see that. Let me bring you just a little bit closer though. There we go. Okay, now what I want to do, what I do is I just take a package of brown gravy mix. So open that up. Now it says to use a cup of water. And let me tell you what I do. And I think I forgot to get a cup out. Let me get some water and I'll be right back. Oh, definitely spray. There you go. I'm just making this all over the place. All right, so we want to have a cup of cold water. Now I'm going to take just a little bit of that and kind of just mix it around in my package to get all of that out. I'm only going to start with about a half to 3/4 of the water because I tend to find that the package mix seems to be a little runny, depending on the brand. So that's what I start with. I'm going to put it on about medium heat. Stir it up really, really good. And then you want to cook it till the thickness you want. And when it starts to get kind of thick, I'm going to add in more water. And just a tiny bit at a time until I know it's at the thickness I want. And that I know I won't want any more water. So let's let's just do that. Okay, I'll bring it back in a minute when I get ready to add more water. Okay, as you can tell, this has gotten pretty thick. And remember, it'll thicken up a little bit too after you take it off the heat. So I'm going to add a little bit more water. Let me see. And I'm going to keep going, trying to get it to the thickness that I want. Okay. Keep cooking this ground beef. Well, how's everyone's weather? I saw that at Mount Washington and New Hampshire, they had like the lowest wind chill temperature apparently on record, even lower than Alaska's ever been. I think it was like -110 or something like that. I can't remember exactly, but it was way, it was 100 and something. You know I've said on my channel before, but it's true. You cannot rush gravy. You try to rush gravy, you're going to get clumps. And you can tell that it's at the thickness you want when it starts to boil. And it's the thick as you want it, because once it starts to boil, it's not going to really get any thicker until you take it off the heat and let it sit a while. You want just under the thickness you want. Back over here to this ground beef. Well, are y'all excited for the Super Bowl? Now, as I've told y'all, I'm from Memphis, Mississippi, just outside Memphis, Mississippi area. That's where I grew up and lived. And then I went in the Army, met my husband. And after getting out of the Army, we settled in Missouri. He's from Missouri, he was from St. Louis, but we settled in the country. And so anyway, my favorite football team is the Dallas Cowboys. I like the Dallas Cowboys. And so since they didn't go anywhere, then since I'm from Missouri, I rooted for Kansas City. And of course now they're going to Super Bowl, so that is amazing. I have one of my 4 sons-in-law, let me get that said correctly, that likes Kansas City. So he and my grandchildren, who have been brainwashed, that don't like Dallas and never grew up liking Dallas because they were brainwashed. Now they are all rooting for Kansas City, and they are all very happy right now. Anyway, and I love them anyway, even though their daddy brainwashed them, as I tell them. But let me see, this is bubbling, and okay, I'm at just a tiny bit more. That'll be about, I used about 3/4 of a cup, and that will be about all I need. Anyway, my husband, he didn't watch sports on TV. He liked to watch rodeo, and he would watch stock car races. But that was about the extent of it. He played football in high school, and at some point he broke a collarbone and didn't play anymore, but he said he'd rather play than watch. So, well, as an adult, he did play. As a young adult, he would play, with a group of friends or something. But he didn't sit around and watch it on television. Oh, I had a couple of onions escape on me. Let me put those back in. All right, this is done. And let me show you there. looks like some of it's still stuck to the bottom. I noticed that some of her pots and pans tend to stick a little sometimes. Let me get that stirred up in there real good. Scrape it off that bottom and show you what it looks like now. Now that will thicken up a little bit as it sits. So I'm going to set that back there and let it cool some. And this is just about finished. So when it gets finished, I am going to drain it. And then I will be back with you after I get all of that done. We will assemble the shepherd's pie. All right, be back in a moment. All right, I'm ready to assemble the shepherd's pie, so let's get to that. I'll turn you down so you can see. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our 9x13 baking dish. Oh, and you want to preheat your oven to 350. In the dish, we're going to take the ground beef and onion mixture. Make sure you drain it and really well, and then rinse it off and drain it really well. And then I added pepper in it after I rinsed it. Don't really, unless you're a person that loves salt. There's really no need to put any salt in the ground beef because everything, all the other ingredients have salt in them already. Okay, just spread that out and make sure your dish is greased. I think I said that just in case I didn't. So get that all spread out in the bottom. Okay, we're going to set it over here for a moment. Next, we're going to take a can of cream of mushroom soup is what I'm using. And just put that in this bowl. Use your spatula so you can get just about every bit of it out that you can. I actually usually buy Aldi brand, but my daughter said no, she wanted Campbell's. Aldi brand actually comes out of the can, I think, a lot easier. It comes out in one big clump. You don't have as much to scrape, but I just had to tell you that because I have to aggravate her. All right. And you know, any ingredients, any brand, whatever fits your budget. You know, some things I do have that I like name brands, certain brands on, but we always have to fit our budgets though, don't we? Sometimes we can't always have the brands that we want. We have to fit our budget at times. And when I had my children at home, was raising 5 children, there are a lot of name brands that my husband and I maybe liked before we got married that we just had to forego for a while at different times. All right, you're going to take your 15-ounce can of sweet peas. That's what I'm using. For years, I made it with green beans, and then I was out one day, and my husband was wanting some shepherd's pie, and I was out the green beans, so I made it with the peas, and he loved it, and he told me that was the only way he wanted me to make it again, or the rest of the time, only make it like that. Something I was wanting to tell you, too, is make sure you wash off your cans of vegetables and things before you open them up, before you use them. You want to make sure that they are clean so no germs fall down the side of the cans when you open them. And the peas, I drained them. You want them drained. Mix that up really, really good. We are going to add a little bit of pepper to it. spatula and scrape that off. I'm going to be using it in a minute. Now, we'll take our dish and we are going to put this over the ground beef. Just kind of plop it in here, a little at a time. You know, and actually when we started eating with peas, that kind of for us just made sense because we both like to put our peas in our mashed potatoes. Seemed like if I made fried chicken or something, peas just went with mashed potatoes. Okay, let me see if I can get more out of here. Scrape it out. Remember, we don't ever want to leave anything behind. Get out as much as you possibly can. Groceries just cost too much money to be wasting and leaving anything behind. Anything that you're going to have to rinse down the sink. Now, if you have chickens or something that you can give little pieces and tidbits of things to, then that will work. Okay, now just kind of spread it out as best as you can and as evenly as you can. I'm sorry I'm clanging against that. That probably doesn't sound good to your ears. Cover it as best as you can. Cover that meat as best as you can. All right. Now next on top of that, I want to put the potatoes. And we're going to use that spoon to kind of push them off. And you can use leftover potatoes. If they're a little bit too stiff, if they're leftover, just pop them in the microwave 15-20 seconds to get them just a little bit softer to spread. If you make them from scratch, you want them you don't want them like kind of real creamy or kind of runny because you want it to be able to hold up under the gravy. I'm just going to kind of plop some of this down here and there and then take it from there. It's almost kind of like you put these on to me, it always kind of seems like it's icing a cake. Hold on just a moment. My nose is trying to run, so I'm going to have to catch it and then wash my hands. Get a clean paper towel out. Okay. Don't you hate it when you're cooking and your nose starts to run? Or you're cooking and you need to go to the bathroom in the middle of it. You gotta stop, you have to go, wash your hands. It's like once I get started cooking, I just want to cook. I don't like to have to be interrupted by anything. I just want to get it done. Of course, when my children were at home, I had plenty of interruptions at times. How many of you have ever cooked supper and held a baby on your hip? Maybe you have one on your hip and two of them on your leg. I've been there with that before. My three youngest were like boom, 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 and I had those three just shy of, I think it was 3 years. Yeah, just shy of 3 years. Well, in 87, 88, and 89. So whatever I was doing, they were like the Three Stooges. They were always right there together with each other. I miss those days. At the time, I was wishing they'd hurry up and get over, but now I miss them. I don't know so much hurrying that they get over, but that I could maybe get a break and have a rest for a while. Okay, thinking I like my potatoes kind of thick, so I'm thinking I should have put another little bit more potatoes on here. Tell y'all what I'm going to do. I'm going to be back in just a little bit because I think I'm going to, unless everybody here's super hungry, I think I'm going to throw another one, potato, maybe just nuke it in the microwave and then mash it up and add it to this. All right, I'll be back in a little bit. All right, let's continue. I finished doing some more potatoes and mashed them up and put them on top. It may look a little bit different, colored off, texture off, because just to get it done, I popped them in the microwave, cooked them in the microwave, you know, in the skins whole, and then just scooped them out of the shell and then mashed them up from there. So I finished putting the potatoes on. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the gravy and just pour it on top of the potatoes. Use the same spatula I used a while ago. And just get it all out there. I read one time that if it's made with beef, it's actually called cottage pie, but I don't know. We just always called it shepherd's pie, and it's really only supposed to be called shepherd's pie if it's made with lamb, but I'm going to keep calling it shepherd's pie. And just kind of spread that over. And you know, you don't have to put the gravy on, just if you like it, and we like it, so we put on the gravy. All spread out. You can make this beforehand and stick it in the freezer. Just make sure you cover it really, really good. I would cover it. I would cover it real good with like some cellophane, you know, saran wrap or something, and then I would put the aluminum foil on top of that. Next year, we're going to just put some cheese on it, however much you want. And I love cheese. So cover it with some cheese. Just about done here. Once we get it covered with cheese, we are going to pop it in the oven at a preheated oven at 350 for about 30 minutes. I'm using about half of this 16-ounce bag. All right. Well, I tell you what, y'all, I will be back when it is finished and out of the oven, all right? See you in a little bit. All right, I am back. It is finished cooking. And let me turn it around here and bring you down and show it to you. think that's good. Okay, let me bring it down. There we go. It's all finished. And let me get a plate and I'll scoop some out. Sorry about the noise. Trying to find some kind of a scooper. This looks good. Just scoop us some out. See how it kind of got a little crispy there at the corners? That's what I like. Okay, I'm just gonna scoop that back up there. All right. So that's what the finished product looks like, and it's just really too hot for me to eat now. But I know it's gonna be good. All right, so y'all try making this. If you've never made it, if you never tried it, just try make it. It's real simple and easy. You can make it up like the night before. If you work, make it up the night before, stick it in the refrigerator, take it out, putting it in a cold oven, and then turn your temp on 350, and then I would cook it for about, I'd say I give it about 10 minutes longer since it would be cold. Cook it for about 40, 45 minutes, all right? Okay, so remember to give me a thumbs up, to share, and I welcome any and all comments, any questions. If I did something you don't understand, you want me to clarify something, you know, just ask. Just write down below here, just comment and ask. All right. Well, y'all have a wonderful evening, and I'll be back again. And remember to always season your cooking with love. And I don't know if I'm going to post this tonight or tomorrow, but tomorrow is Sunday. And I would say that if you don't go to church anywhere and you're physically able to go, go find you a good local church. And church family is a good family. And then, you know, if you're incapacitated, there are many wonderful ones out there that you can watch. My church does not do an online service. We're a small church. But I watched this one out of Texas. It's Triple Cross Cowboy Church, Hood County. Triple Cross Cowboy Church, Hood County. The pastor's name is Dan, and he really gives some good sermons. So maybe, you know, if you can't get out, you could try watching that. So I usually go to church on Sunday morning, come home, and then watch that in the afternoon. All right, well, y'all have a wonderful evening, all right? Bye-bye.